I just got back from the Superman movie, so let's talk about it. But I'm going to be putting a little bit of a spin on it because I am a Hot Toys collector. And as a Hot Toys collector, I love collecting my favorite characters from different movies, video games, shows, just anything in general that I can get my hands on. So I will be reviewing the movie, but also be talking about each character individually, like the main characters, of course, not every little side character, you know, not little kid that he saved or anything like that. And I'll be kind of talking about what I'm hoping to get as a collector, as well as my thoughts on how the character was portrayed in the movie and just my general thoughts on them. So at first, especially if you're new around here and you haven't heard too much about Hot Toys or 6-scale figures in general, I'll give you a little rundown as to what they are. So basically, Hot Toys are 6-scale collectibles of our favorite characters. There are other companies that do it. There's Third Party, for example, which aren't licensed figures. Then there's also like Inart, 3-0, and just a ton of different companies making awesome collectibles. The main one is Hot Toys. I feel like that's the one that a lot of people recognize the name of. And here I have images of 4 different Hot Toys, either upcoming, I have in my collection currently, or Superman. If you don't know much about Hot Toys or 6-scale figures, I will tell you that is basically what my whole channel's around, just collecting figures, talking about them, showing them off, posing them, just having so much fun with these. In my displays, I do actually currently have this Jack Sparrow and this Joker. These are awesome figures that look so much like the actor. In my personal opinion, I believe 6-scale is the best scale to get collectibles of certain characters. I know there's highly detailed statues, stuff like that, but the likeness and details that you get in 6-scale figures, especially just looking at these images, is so hard to beat. So yes, that's kind of a little brief rundown as to what Hot Toys are and 6-scale figures in general, so you kind of know where I'm coming from when I'm talking about the characters and different things I want as a collector. And of course, since this is Superman, we are getting Superman figures. As of now, we only have 2 official announcements for different Superman characters, from Hot Toys on the left and Inart on the right. In the 6-scale collecting community, this has been a pretty heated debate as to which is best. Let me know your thoughts on it. I did make a dedicated video to talking about it, but near the end of this video, we are going to be making the definitive choice as to if you should get Hot Toys or Inart. So yes, let's just talk about the movie now. I will warn you, there will probably be some spoilers in here. I want to talk freely, talk about my thoughts on the characters, stuff that happens, and everything in general for this movie. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, what are you doing? Where's your tickets? Do you have tickets? Hopefully, because this movie is awesome. Just for those of you who are gonna leave this video because of spoilers, unfortunately, I'm hoping you go right now, get your tickets, get your butt in a seat, and watch this movie. Just as a quick little review for you, yes, this movie deserves your attention, and it is very, very good and opens up like a ton of potential for the DC universe now. So that's your spoiler warning. And now I'm going to talk about the movie. This movie is great. I got so immersed just like sitting there in the theater, just like watching it, feeling like I was like part of this world. One thing I absolutely loved was that James Gunn didn't really go into establishing everything. So some people will probably complain, be like, oh, I don't know Superman's backstory, Green Lantern, stuff like that. But to me, that didn't really matter. I kind of just wanted to get right into the movies, like not really waste time kind of going into every little nitty-gritty detail. So I feel like just kind of being thrown into this established universe just felt so good. Like I said, I felt like I was just in this universe. I was like just watching this Superman story unfold. I may be a little biased because I just came right out of the theater, and it's honestly been quite a while since I saw a new superhero movie that I just got so invested in. And this movie did it for me. Just right now, looking at these different scenes, kind of what you're seeing on screen right now, you can see that this movie has quality. I saw it pretty close up to the screen, not in the front row. I wasn't one of those people sitting down there just like looking up the characters' noses or anything like that. I was slightly elevated, but close enough to the screen where it felt massive. And that is the way you should experience this movie, in my personal opinion. I know not everyone will, and I know at home and stuff, you're still gonna have an amazing time with this movie, but experiencing it in theaters with a literal packed theater was incredible. That's just such a cool feeling, and it's been a while since I saw a movie that was just completely packed. Last movie I saw that was completely packed was probably the Minecraft movie. Either that one or I think I went opening night to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and yes, I'm so excited for that second one. But let's not get too off track here. So my basic overall thoughts is just that this movie is great and you should see it. But now let's talk a little bit more in detail. As for the tone of the movie, it was pretty consistent. There wasn't times where it felt like too overly funny or too overly dark or anything like that. I felt like they had the perfect mix of like comedy with emotion and then also some like darker scenes. One that stands out to me in particular as to darker scenes is when Lex Luthor is trying to interrogate Superman using the sandwich shop owner. I forget exactly what he did. I think he gave Superman a free sandwich or something, and he's just kind of doing like Russian roulette with him, and then in the second try he spins a barrel and just takes that guy out. That was a little shocking. Not too like gory or anything, of course. It was just kind of a little shot and just he fell over. But still, I honestly wasn't really expecting to see something like that in this movie. And that scene where he's like in the prison getting all kryptonited and the interrogation with Lex Luthor, that seemed like one of the darkest moments in the movie to me. But overall, this movie did have a more kind of lighthearted tone while also taking itself very seriously for the world. And that's one thing that I feel like is very important about movies. You have to be consistent with the tone you're going for your universe. Your movies shouldn't really have conflicting tones, in my opinion. You shouldn't have comedy when you're trying to be serious, and you shouldn't be serious when you're trying to like be a comedy too much. You can have moments that here and there, but when it feels out of place or something like that, it just takes you out of this movie. And to me, I didn't really recognize a time in this movie in particular where I felt like I got taken out. There was one part that stands out. It was near the end of the movie, so I may be forgetting stuff from the beginning. But when Superman, and this is a pretty big spoiler, when he's finding the clone of himself, when of course he gets his arm either dislocated or broken or something, and then he finally assumably kills the clone of himself, although he went to a black hole, so honestly we're probably gonna see him again. I believe that's kind of supposed to be like Bizarro, but I'm kind of hoping something cool happens in a black hole and he just comes back as like crazy Bizarro Superman. But the one part that did take me out a little was when Mr. Terrific just leaned over the edge and was like, what are you doing down there? Whatever he said exactly. And Superman's like, I'm doing important stuff. That part took me out a little. I felt like that was a little out of place. So this movie didn't have too many moments that took me out of it, but that one in particular that one just took me out a little bit. And now let's kind of go into how I felt the acting was. One thing I really appreciate about this movie is they didn't really have too many big name actors. It's not like Marvel now where it's like, you know, every name, stuff like that, or they didn't bring in like Robert Downey Jr. to play the villain or something like that. I know Nicholas Hoult is a pretty big actor. He's been in a lot of films that I've seen, at least, like Mad Max, Nosferatu, stuff like that. But as for who plays like Superman, Lois Lane, and even, another spoiler, Supergirl, I feel like most of them aren't too well known. Like, for example, Nathan Fillion, I feel like a lot of people do know, but he always plays like side characters. But now he's playing Green Lantern, which is going to be, or I assume it's going to be, a pretty big character in this universe, maybe a solo film, stuff like that. He was running his Justice Gang, which of course, probably becomes the Justice League later on when Superman takes over and we get some more characters in there. That was very cool to see, like the lesser known actors and actresses. Like, for example, the actress that plays Hawkgirl. I know I recognize her in The Last of Us Season 2 and Alien Romulus, but I haven't seen her in tons of movies and I feel like she's not as well known yet. So I am very glad that James Gunn made the decision to actually incorporate newer, lesser known actors and actresses into this universe so he can kind of establish them without having like a preset notion as to how they should act or the characters they played in the past or anything like that. And so with that, every single actor and actress, even the extras in this movie, were fantastic. So I mentioned the extras because there was one scene I remember kind of on this roof with like two extras standing there and they had their kind of little speaking moment and it just felt like natural for the world. Didn't really seem out of place. It didn't seem like they were bad actors or anything. It just felt kind of like a natural reaction as to what a civilian might say or do in that exact moment. I did really like how this movie made everything seem like large, like a big scale, and everything's like really detailed. For example, when they're in the Daily Planet, in the background you see people working, like running around doing their thing. Whenever you see people on the street or if there's a battle going on, they're always like running away or just kind of like interacting with different things like that. In the beginning, they made sure to show that like Superman has a lot of support from the people. Before, of course, it gets revealed that his parents wanted him to conquer the Earth, unfortunately. So when Superman gets smacked into the floor, he has people running over to support him and help him out there. And unfortunately, that is part of the reason why that one guy gets killed. the sandwich shop owner. So as to acting, I didn't really see anything out of place, whether it was the main leads or the extras. Just, yeah, everything flowed so nicely in this universe. And now for the action. The action in this movie is amazing. I enjoyed watching every single fight scene on screen. The way the camera like kind of moved around and even the CGI. So let's just knock that out real quick. The CGI in this movie is amazing. I don't know what happened to Marvel, but they used to be great, and now a lot of their movies and shows look like animations or cartoons, or I don't even know what's going on with them. Like, nothing in this movie like took me out of it. Like, even Crypto, he was fully CGI throughout the entire movie, and like nothing about him really took me out. The way they like paid attention to every little hair and detail to make sure like Crypto was brought to life was, yeah, I love that dedication. Then the fights, when the camera like pans around, which obviously has to use like a mix of like CGI with the action, sparks, like everything flying around. And then of course the actual actors, actresses, and like stunt coordinators, like stuntmen, everything just, yeah, it flows so well. Every fight scene was so like, yeah, amazing to watch. I'm excited to rewatch this movie, to be honest. Everything felt kind of like weighty. The sound effects were on point. Yes, yeah. As you can tell, I love the action in this movie. I don't want to talk about every fight scene, but yeah, once you watch this movie, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Like the way that even like Green Lantern's able to summon like 50 different things at once. Like, yeah, it's awesome. They didn't really have any characters that were kind of like weighed down, or not weighed down, watered down to where they couldn't use their full abilities because it's like, we don't want to animate that or something like that. They went hard on the action here, and they like spared no expense. There wasn't anything that I saw. I'll admit I did have high expectations for this movie, so I was expecting to be a little disappointed, especially when it came to the CGI and action. So I was like, Crypto's gonna be fully CGI, and then it's all the CGI action and stuff. But everyone that worked on this movie needs to take a bow, because that was amazing. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun movie to rewatch in the future and stuff, because it's an experience, especially all that action. And yeah, so let's talk about the plot a little bit. I will admit, I don't know a ton about the Superman lore. He's not one of the characters I honestly really liked. I enjoyed Henry Cavill's portrayal of him, stuff like that in the Snyderverse, but Superman as a character, honestly, I was not very into. I could kind of care less about Superman before I watched this movie. My favorite superhero, for example, is Spider-Man, and then also because he has such an amazing show, Daredevil, and more specifically the Netflix version, although I am a big fan of Born Again. So I like to mention Daredevil because I really knew nothing about him. I wasn't really a fan of the character or anything, but when I watched that show, I fell in love with that character. A good show or movie can make you fall in love with anything, to be honest. And as someone who really could care less about Superman, now I'm a fan and I want to see more. Like watching Superman on screen, be able to even feel like you could kind of relate to the character, like his struggles in life and just like his viewpoints on stuff and like different things like that. It's great to see, because everyone wants to feel something when they watch a movie. You don't just want to watch some guy flying around beating stuff up. You don't want to feel like you're just a civilian on the ground watching this stuff. You want to feel like you're in it. You want to feel like you're immersed. And that is what this movie gave me. It gave me immersion. And now I really want to see what else James Gunn is cooking for this universe. This Superman movie, and even this like version of him, is up there for me now. I am so excited to see what else comes out from James Gunn's universe, and just in general see the Superman again. We'll most likely be getting more characters, probably a Batman, which hopefully differs from the Batman, which is what I'm hearing anyway, because Robert Pattinson's universe is dark and I absolutely love that. If I look to my left, I actually can see that Robert Pattinson Batman on my shelf, because, you know, collect Hot Toys, so yeah, I have them. Just had a flex on you real quick. And I guess plug a little bit that if you want to see all the characters in my collection, go watch the collection tour on my channel. But like I said, this is a great introductory movie, and I feel like a lot of people who watch it, especially looking at those Rotten Tomatoes scores, feel the same way. I know there's some like hardcore fans and stuff, and I will talk about that next, the kind of Superman comparisons people are making between James Gunn's universe and the Snyderverse. So that's gonna be a little controversial, and that's why I left it for the next little section. But as you just heard, of course, I'm gushing about this movie. It's an experience. I'm hoping those of you now who went out and got your tickets, got your butts in those seats, are now watching this and appreciating everything I'm talking about. And especially those of you who are watching this because you've already seen the movie and want to talk about it, then definitely leave your thoughts down in the comments as well. I want to hear from all of you, even if honestly you're watching this and you haven't seen the movie yet. Let me know what you're thinking about it. If you're gonna see it, if you're not gonna see it, if you're just hating on it because you love the Snyderverse, if you're wanting to see the downfall of this universe for some reason, let's just have a big discussion down there. Have everyone in the community, along with me replying to you, and yeah, let's just have fun down there talking about this movie. But what I guess is a little controversial, what a lot of comments might be mentioning, is the comparison between the Snyderverse Superman and now this James Gunn Superman. Up here, I just actually have 2 figures of the Hot Toys versions of both Supermen because I like collecting, so had to throw that in there. The Henry Cavill Superman was a great representation, and you know, we're still waiting to see that next movie of him and Black Adam, so yeah. But yeah, we know that's never gonna happen now. The Henry Cavill Superman is gone. Whether you love it or you hate it, he's gone. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, is embrace this new universe. I don't really think people should hate on the James Gunn universe or the Superman movie because you just like the Henry Cavill version or the Snyderverse movies more. That's not the best mindset to have, honestly. I feel like we all should want this universe to succeed and finally see something amazing come out of the DC universe. So I'm not saying the Snyderverse was bad. I did enjoy those movies, and honestly, I kind of liked Batfleck a little bit more than probably the typical person, just because his representation of Batman was pretty awesome. And I have seen the Snyder cut of Justice League a few times. I love that black suit for Henry Cavill Superman. But I've accepted that that universe is dead. We are now moving into the James Gunn universe, and I hope everyone kind of accepts that, doesn't really hold a grudge against that change, because honestly, it's kind of a waste of time just to be mad about the universe ending. Unfortunately, as consumers, we can't really change that. The decision's already been made, and the best thing to do is embrace this James Gunn universe. If you do watch the movie and you absolutely hate it, then of course don't support it. But for me, I'm gonna be supporting this new universe. I've been waiting a long time to see like a fully realized Justice League and everything like that. And seeing the Justice Gang in this movie and the like CGI and the way that he's doing like the filming and the writing and everything, I am looking forward to seeing so much more from his universe. I feel like there's a lot of potential to actually see like stuff that people see in like the animated series and stuff on the actual big screen now. So I'm hoping a lot of you feel the same way. Let me know in the comments whether you're going to embrace this new universe or not. And if you're saying you're not, I'm hoping you at least gave this Superman movie a chance before deciding, because for me, I'm embracing it. I love this movie. We saw so many different characters just in this one movie alone, although of course it did focus on Superman. But hey, I'd be down for even a Crypto solo movie, you know? But yeah, jokes aside, I'm hoping we get a lot more from this universe, and I'm hoping it's at a decent frequency. I don't want to be waiting like 5 years for the next movie. In general, if it takes that long to make a Superman sequel, that's okay, as long as he shows up in other projects. Like if they do a Green Lantern solo movie or Supergirl, or even if they decide to do like a Batman movie or something. But please, I'm begging, don't make your next movie a Batman versus Superman movie. Like, let's actually establish a Batman in this universe before we just say, hey, look, Batman's gonna beat up Superman or something like that. Let's let James Gunn get this universe established. And now that the Marvel universe, in my personal opinion, is kind of going down a little bit, we're not at that peak that we were back when we were getting Avengers movies and kind of like one big overall plot that kept tying in for like the Thanos saga, or it's called the Infinity Saga, but you know, it like leads up to Thanos being the bad guy, stuff like that. I really want to see something like that happen with the DC universe, and I feel like this is our opportunity. So for all you comic book fans and everyone out there who loves superhero stuff, please give this movie a chance. Let me know if you enjoyed it, and if you don't, of course, that's fine, but definitely just, yeah, give it a chance, because even for me, I had high expectations and it kind of even blew those out of the water. I don't want to overhype anything, of course. Keep your expectations in check, but just personally, mine were high and I was blown away. So I want to throw that in there. And now I kind of just want to talk about each character individually. I am going to be mixing some collector stuff in there because I want to talk about figures I'm hoping we're getting from this movie, or figures I feel like we should wait on because their costume's not that great. And this right here, honestly, is a great example. So I actually do like Nathan Fillion quite a bit. I even watched that kind of Uncharted fan-made movie back in the day when he was pretending to be Nathan Drake. I feel like in a live action, he would portray Nathan Drake amazingly, and I love that short film. But unfortunately, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But as Green Lantern, he was pretty great. He was a little cocky, a little arrogant, and hey, he actually had a suit. He didn't have that CGI monstrosity we had back with that Ryan Reynolds movie. But this representation was great. I didn't really see many downsides with it. The way he was able to use his ring and just like summon stuff, and they didn't really hold back on what he was actually able to do, I very much appreciated. But yes, the one thing, this haircut, I'm hoping he, you know, gets a different barber in the future, because this just ain't cutting it, to be honest. It's, yeah, the haircut's a little odd, but the character himself is awesome. And as a collector, which of course this is like not a Hot Toys, but just like a little figure I found online that they're making for him, I personally don't think we need a representation of him as a Hot Toy with this costume. I wasn't really a big fan of this costume. I feel like it could look a little cooler. This one was basically just like a leather jacket, pants, and yeah, as you can see right here, it wasn't crazy detailed. It does have the logos on there for Green Lantern and stuff like that, and the ring looks very cool. But I feel like we could get a better version in the future. That was also kind of my thoughts with Thunderbolts, because Thunderbolts, they had cool outfits in the movie, but then, which this is spoilers for Thunderbolts, so skip like a little bit in the future if you don't want to hear that. So I'll try to talk fast so you can not skip too far. But at the end of Thunderbolts, they actually had new costumes for like the new Avengers. And in my opinion, those costumes were better than the ones they had in the original movie. So I'm hoping we see those in the future. Okay, and we're back. So hopefully you skipped and you're back to listening now. But similar to that, I feel like this costume isn't his best yet. We'll probably get cooler ones in the future. And at that point, I'd want to see a cool Hot Toy with it. But I guess, you know, if you want some representation of him in this costume, it looks like you're getting it from some other companies. Not in the highest quality, of course, like compared to Hot Toys, but I guess if you want some representation, there you go. And now, a huge standout for me in the movie, Mr. Terrific. I remember seeing Mr. Terrific back in the Arrowverse days, and it was so goofy. I did not like that representation of that character. I don't know a ton about Mr. Terrific, but I personally didn't really like that. He was a bit odd, and I didn't like the representation of him. But now this version of him in Superman was awesome. I instantly fell in love with his character, the way he like fights and talks, and just, yeah, his whole demeanor is, yeah, amazing. He was such a cool character in this. Like the scene on the beach when he's fighting and puts like Lois Lane in the bubble, and he's using his little T-sphere, little T-droid things. I can't remember the name exactly, so let me know in the comments. He was like fighting with those, and even though he uses his mind as his biggest weapon and like all his inventions, he was kicking some serious butt. Other than Superman, of course, I think he is my favorite character in the movie. Even for the outfit design, I actually really liked his. I know it's a little hypocritical because it's basically the same as Green Lantern's, but red now. But for his character, I feel like it fits a little bit more. He doesn't need some like crazy intense costume, so I feel like this actually gets the job done for him. And I wouldn't mind if Hot Toys or even third party or something gave us a Mr. Terrific from this movie. I, just to be completely honest, don't know if I'd be picking it up because there will probably be another cooler costume later on. And that is probably why Hot Toys or anyone is not going to make a Mr. Terrific from this movie. But if they did, right here, make sure he has his chair. Give us a cool display where we can have him sitting on this chair with his like little drones just kind of hanging all around him, or up on those little clear display cases or stands, the poles. That's the word I'm looking for. Although he'd look cool without it as well, if we do get a Mr. Terrific, they better not skimp on the accessories. I hate when they skimp on the accessories and then you just have a character that is honestly kind of lame and a lot of people skip. So if we do get a Mr. Terrific, which I would not mind, definitely make sure we get this chair, definitely make sure we get these drones, and yeah, he was a standout character in the movie. And next up is Hot Girl, and I laugh a little because this picture is just kind of funny. It was one of the best ones I could find, other than, of course, this image. But she was pretty good in the movie. Didn't really have a ton to do. She did have that really cool thing where she took out the leader of, I already forget the country's name, but the bad country, or the country invading the one country, and all that drama that was going on. So she did take him out. She's not afraid to kill. She said, I'm not Superman, I'm Hot Girl, or, well, she didn't say I'm Hot Girl, but yeah, she just dropped him. But her costume design is kind of cool. Also, not what I'd want to see for Hot Girl, to be honest. Mr. Terrific, I feel like the costume suited him very well, but her and Green Lantern, I feel like could have been improved a little bit. I wouldn't mind if they made a Hot Toys or like 6-scale figure of her from this movie, but once again, I probably hold out for a better version. That's probably why we won't get a representation from it. But it might not be a ton of work, although it'd kind of be like a Falcon from the Marvel Universe situation where she has big wings and then it just takes up tons of room in the display, so people won't pick it up because of that as well. She doesn't necessarily need her wings out, so of course they'd be detachable. But if you're gonna get a character named Hawk Girl, I feel like you're gonna be displaying the wings because that's like her whole thing. But her mace is cool, her outfit is decent, could be improved for future movies and stuff. But as a character in this movie, I feel like we're gonna see more in the future and a better costume. So at that point, then yeah, be cool to get a figure. And now Lex Luthor. He was very good in this movie. I feel like they represented him very well. The way he actually doesn't fight for himself in a sense, or actually like quite literally, if I could talk. He literally just like fought through Ultraman, which I believe that was his name, Ultraman. He's the guy who turned out to be a clone of Superman. So yeah, well, I'll just call him the clone. He fought through the clone by using like battleship coordinates, like saying like A1, B12, D4, stuff like that. And every single one of those kind of coordinates were different moves that he wanted Ultraman or the clone to do on Superman, because he studied like every single one of Superman's moves. And that was a very interesting concept. And because of that, he was able to take out Superman in basically every fight he used his clone against him in. And acting and everything was on point. And even, yeah, that bald head right there looks very good. I felt like Lex Luthor was portrayed very well in this movie. But when it comes to getting a figure of him, I don't think it's really necessary. Maybe a third party or something will make him, but it's just kind of a bald guy in a suit at the end of the day. You could get a Hitman figure, you know, and then just kind of like scratch off or rub off the little barcode on the back of his head, and there you go, got Lex Luthor. So we probably won't be seeing an official figure of him in the 6-scale sense, but in the movie he was awesome. I enjoyed seeing him on screen every time. He was evil when he needed to. He actually got his hands dirty, especially during that interrogation scene, and he used like manipulation and others to do his dirty work in like the best way, where he was controlling them but not directly doing it. So he was like manipulating everybody with like media and stuff, like his whole monkey army, just sending out anti-Superman tweets, stuff like that. Or I guess messages, because I don't know if they're called tweets anymore or anything like that. But yeah, just his anti-Superman propaganda he was sending out. And luckily in the end he got exposed. So I'm interested to see if he forms his own crew. I forget what they're called. So I'll just call them the anti-Justice League for now. I do want to see like a Deathstroke and stuff on screen, especially if we get a Batman. So if he forms his own league, that'd be very awesome. I was hoping in the end credits we'd get something cool with him, but we didn't. We just got some like basic Superman and Crypto and Superman and Mr. Terrific stuff in the end. So we didn't really see what's going to be next in this universe the way Marvel usually did, but it still works. And I know we're probably going to be seeing them again sometime soon. And I don't have a picture from the movie, but if you look right here on the book she's reading, this is the actress who plays Supergirl in the movie. And her outfit in it, she was wearing a jacket over it, but it looked a lot like this, but with the kind of twist that Superman has, like the little lines in it and all the detail. So her costume is very similar to this, and I don't think we're gonna get a figure of it. It'd be really cool if we do in the future, if she's used to a greater extent in either her own movie or just like a different movie in general. Then it'd be cool to get a figure of her, display her next to Superman, stuff like that. But for now, we probably won't. But I am looking forward to seeing how she portrays a character, because her character was kind of used as a joke in this, to be honest. Like, she was picking up Crypto because Superman was watching her dog, it said, which I guess Crypto was her dog in this movie. And she was coming in a little under the influence, so it was like a little just goofy moment. So she didn't seem like a super serious Supergirl or anything, which can be appreciated because I think she's a bit younger than Superman, although I'm not sure. Although they both seem pretty young in this, kind of new to the whole hero thing. But the actress who plays her, I do remember in House of the Dragon. And to be honest, I was a little disappointed once House of the Dragon went into the future and used a whole basically different cast, like someone else to play her character, stuff like that. Because I felt like her character was portrayed very well when we were like kind of back in time when it was a younger version of her. So she, like I said, James Gunn is using actors and actresses that are lesser known but have a lot of potential. I feel like she has a lot of potential to do an amazing job as Supergirl. And real quick, let's look at Metamorpho. This would be an awesome character to get a figure of because his design is just, yeah, very unique. Although he can literally change his elements so he could look like anything. It'd be awesome to get a figure of him in the future, but for now, I don't know if we're gonna get that because he's not really established in his look yet. Although the look of him here, kind of with all the different elements, is very good. I do hope that we see something from him in the future. But as to his character in the movie, very good. I don't know a ton about him, I'll admit, but from what I saw, I liked it. And he had like a bit of emotion there because his son was being held by Lex Luthor and Superman was helping him. And it's interesting that he can just produce like kryptonite. So he seems to me honestly a little overpowered, depending on how he's used. I don't know his limitations or abilities or stuff like that yet, but he seems very overpowered, or has the potential to be, I guess. So he was looking awesome. I liked him in the movie, and I do want to see more from him. Looks like he's going to be on the Justice League once they change their name from Justice Gang. And now we have the Engineer. I don't really know anything about this character. I guess she uses like nanotech and stuff. She was kind of cool in the movie, but a little forgettable, admittedly. Like her powers and stuff were interesting, and she almost killed Superman. Like, I know she gave up her entire, like, everything to basically become a nanobot in a way, where she can even, like, morph her whole head around to the other side, which was a very interesting thing to see on screen. But I don't think we'll see too much of her in the future, but she's not out of it, so maybe they'll do something else with her. But as for her costume design and the potential of getting a figure, we probably won't. Her outfit's a bit basic, just kind of black, and then of course you could have tons of cool accessories because it's nanotech, you can do anything with it, but we probably won't see it. And I didn't feel the character was gonna go too many more places, but it was interesting to see the character at least. Then I didn't see a great picture for him, but we have Ultraman, or you know, the clone of Superman. I really hope we see him as like Bizarro or something in the future, because I don't really want to figure this version. It was cool to see Superman with long hair, I guess, but this outfit's kind of basic, just black. Looks kind of cool, but yeah, no, I don't think we need to have a figure or anything of him. We need to see Bizarro, because that would be super cool, to be honest. And it's a little interesting now, knowing what we know, seeing that these two characters have a very similar physique. So, of course, being a clone, it wasn't him in the costume, of course, until, you know, the mask comes off and he's just him with longer hair. But yeah, the proportions and stuff look very similar. And I say proportions because that's what people usually use when they're talking about Hot Toys. So if we do get a figure of him, then I guess Hot Toys can save a little money on the molding and the body, because they can just use this body, slap the outfit on it, and done. And something that we probably won't get, but I would think would be very cool if we do, is those Superman robots. I really like seeing these robots in the movie. They were super cool, kind of funny, a little like unique in the way they act and all that. So I like seeing them in the movie. Getting a figure of them would be pretty cool. You could have like light up features, stuff like that. They didn't do a ton except get beat up and help out Superman a bit. So they weren't a huge role in the movie, but I enjoyed seeing them, and yeah, put a nice little blue chrome on them, and yeah, you got a figure. But now for what I think a lot of you, or at least the Hot Toys and collectors out there, were waiting for. We have the updated comparison between Hot Toys here on the left and Inart here on the right. I'm going to try to keep the pictures consistent, or put them in the middle with Hot Toys on the left, then Inart on the right. Hot Toys on the left, Inart on the right. So up first, comparing the head sculpts. Now that I've seen the movie and seen the character with basically like this hairstyle, I stand by saying that Inart's looks better. This one on the left, it does look like him, and he has kind of that windswept hair. And on Inart's, it's a bit cleaner. And honestly, I kind of like the expression on the Hot Toys. He looks very serious in Inart's, which for this Superman, he wasn't serious all the time, but that's what Inart went with. But after seeing the movie, I have to say Inart, yeah, this looks a lot more like him than this one. But I do encourage you, check out my full review doing the comparison originally, because I had like a lot more photos, went a lot more in depth. This one's kind of like an updated comparison, just giving my final thoughts now. And the cryptos. Yep, Inart's is better. Just, yeah, this one's too small. Hot Toys didn't put a lot of detail into them. They kind of skimped on their crypto a bit, and it's very disappointing. Inart's crypto is awesome. He looks so good. Like, from little details to here on Hot Toys, they didn't dangle the collars, just like put right into them. Hot Toys, yeah, you shouldn't have skimped out on crypto, because you're probably going to lose some sales just based on crypto, because in the movie, crypto was awesome. I didn't talk about crypto too much in this review, but I guess I was saving that for here. Crypto in the movie was so awesome to see. It was so fun, like watching him like fetch stuff, you know, like just knock people over, and yeah, he was awesome to see on screen. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him, hopefully a little more trained, because he was a bit chaotic in here, although that's, you know, he was basically acting like an untrained dog. And that's on Supergirl. She hasn't trained him. So yeah, hopefully he'll be a little more trained in the future, because I'd love to see a version of Krypto where he's like following commands and just fully in sync with like Superman or Supergirl fighting and stuff like that. But in figure form, Inart takes this. Look at that. You tell me in the comments if you agree, but how can you not pick the Inart Krypto over this Hot Toys one? Maybe Hot Toys will update in the future, because they kind of messed up here, to be honest. They gave us a poor representation of Krypto, and I feel like sales-wise they're going to suffer because of it, because this Inart one is so much better. And the bases, I still personally like the Hot Toys one a little more, because when the movie, like the actual Fortress of Solitude came out of the ground, it had like giant spikes everywhere, so I do like how this one looks. Detail-wise, you can see that in there. Hopefully you can see that. But the snow and everything is very finely detailed, and if he's like forward a bit, I guess this kind of looks like the fortress in the background, although personally Hot Toys, the base still wins for me. But Inart didn't really skimp on the base, because it still looks very good, very finely detailed. And although Hot Toys isn't as detailed, I love that you just get like giant crystals and stuff sticking out of the ground. So overall, here's an overall shot of the Hot Toys figure. So now let's quickly kind of go through his individual features, and I guess I'll just state if Inart has it or not. So he has separate rolling eyeballs, which Inart does have as well. It says newly developed body with enhanced articulation, which Inart usually makes custom bodies for all of them, so yeah, it has that as well. Then the diorama base with 3 display styles and magnetic function. The Inart one won't have magnets, I believe, unless they do for when he's standing. I believe for when he's flying, he just has like a pole that kind of goes into his back or something like that, similar to their other Superman, the Henry Cavill one. But this base is a little more unique, I guess, where it uses the magnet now. But I don't know about 3 display styles, because I guess it's just rotating the base, so I guess they can get away with that, sure. But I guess, yeah, looking at it, I guess you can remove that big crystal in the back, so yeah, sure. Then there's Krypto, which you can make him fly, sort of. He has that pole that you can stick into him, which Inart doesn't have, or at least it looks like he doesn't have. But that Krypto looks bad, in my opinion. Then wired capes. You only get 1 cape with Hot Toys, but it's wired, so I kind of gets the job done, I guess. Then for hands, I believe Hot Toys has more hands with different styles than Inart's. But the hands look good, they're hands, so yeah. That's what you get with Hot Toys. Now for Inart, it kind of looks like it has less features, but Inart's just displaying less here. Like I mentioned, it has rolling eyeballs, kind of standard stuff like that. But you do get some bonuses on Inart. So right here, you can see the actual additional head sculpt. He comes with a closed eyes head sculpt, as well as that kind of open-eyed one you can see. Then he has 2 capes. He has the wired one and a drape cape. So if you don't want to have his cape wired up or anything, because that can sometimes make it look a little funky, then you can just stick this drape cape on him and yeah, you're done. Then of course the Krypto, which they both come as Kryptos, but this one looks a lot better, a lot more details in there. Then of course that base, which yeah, we just talked about. And then his hands, he has slightly less than Hot Toys, but they should get the job done. Then there's those boots. The boots have like pointed toes. These are swap out boots. So when he's flying, I guess there's not articulation in the boots. Or actually, yeah, so you don't crease the boots. I'm guessing Inart, like they have joints in the standard boots. But then if you want to have them just flying, you can swap them out and have those different boots in there. So you don't have to worry about creasing the boots or anything like that. So yeah, you get swap out boots. Then there's that clear flight pole, which yeah, it looks like it just sticks in his back or something. So yes, which one is gonna win? Tell me in the comments which one you are gonna pre-order, or if you're gonna pre-order at all. There's Hot Toys on the left, Inart on the right. Which one is gonna win? Let's find out right now. Yes, Inart won. That's the one I pre-ordered, and that's the one that I would recommend you go with if you want the best version of this character. This Inart one looks amazing. And yes, the closed eyes head sculpt isn't gonna be for everyone. It's nice it's included, but I guess right now it looks like maybe he's smelling a very stinky fart, who knows. But even the price difference isn't too bad. In my other video, I mentioned that it looked like Inart cost a bit more, but it's all region specific depending on where you shop as well, because the Hot Toys one on Sideshow didn't include the shipping costs, and I guess where I was looking Spec Fiction did. So yes, thank you people in the comments who were talking about that, who were correcting me. So basically, let's just say these are the same price. So looking at them around the same price, which one is better? This Inart representation of Superman looks amazing. I'm so excited to get him in hand. If a lot of people want me to, I can always pick up both, pick up the Hot Toys and then this one. I believe Hot Toys will be releasing sooner. So if you want a version of Superman in your display earlier, then you can go with Hot Toys. Like I mentioned, if a lot of you want me to, I guess I can pick up both, do a comparison, get that first Hot Toys Superman when he first comes out, stuff like that. But I did love this character so much, I actually, even on my own, was thinking about getting both, just to have both, to be honest. So yeah, that is my review of the Superman movie from a Hot Toys collector's perspective. We talked about the movie, we talked about potential figures, we talked about Superman figures, which one's better, Hot Toys, Inart. And yes, in the comments, tell me your thoughts on these figures, tell me your thoughts on the movie. And I hope you all have a very amazing rest of your day. And I hope you go check out my individual Superman review, and I hope you do subscribe because we're going to be doing tons more of this in the future. I'm having tons of fun over here on my channel. So I hope you join me on this journey. Hit subscribe, like this video, and I will talk to you again very soon.